Proctor then interestingly says, "You came to save my soul, did you not?" Which of course this isn't the case. Here I have confessed myself, it is enough. But of course we know for Danforth it's not enough that he can save his own soul. It's for the preservation of the community and its strength and its will and the theocracy as a whole that Danforth needs this signed paper for, and certainly not the confession and soul of an individual. I have confessed myself. Is there no good penitence but it be public? God does not need my name nailed upon the church. God sees my name. God knows how black my sins are. Now the word name is starting to creep in here early on. What is John Proctor? Okay, God does not need my name. We've been dabbling in the unseen world, and here suddenly the theocracy is wanting to go back to that weight of authority, the written down, recorded evidence of what we have done, and the conflict between the actual real world and the invisible, abstracted world is coming into conflict. You will not use me. I am no Sarah Good or Tituba. I am John Proctor. Oh, here we go. This is important. He names himself. He identifies himself as a man worth something. And certainly Danforth has exacerbated that by saying to John Proctor, "We need your name nailed upon the church door. There must be some greater value." Now John Proctor, who did not see himself as a good man, who sought forgiveness from his wife for his own sins, is now realizing that, in fact, his soul is his own, and that his name is his own. His integrity is what is valuable. It is no part of salvation that you should use me. There's no saving of others. And realistically, other people are judging themselves and not him, and not the community. I have 3 children. How may I teach them to walk like men in the world? And I sold my friends. Beguile me not. I blacken all of them when this is nailed to the church, the very day they hang for silence. When people don't concede to the prevailing values and they remain faithful to their own integrity, he blackens their name because he says that has no value if he supports it. He reinforces to Danforth that he has power. You are the High Court. Your word is good enough. Tell them I confessed myself. Say Proctor broke to his knees and wept like a woman. Say what you will. Slander me. Do what you wish with me. However, I'm not giving you my integrity because that is the one thing that I possess myself. Danforth, with suspicion, says, "It is the same, is it not, if I report it or you sign to it?" And Proctor knows it's insane. Look at that stage direction. It's insanity. Danforth is not reconciling the authority that the theocracy is and the broken nature of that theocracy because it's applying oppressive force in a context where it's not needed, and the value of one's soul and one's relationship with God. The conflict rises up here between a person, an individual, who doesn't need the community to survive and recognizes that he himself is the one thing that has value, and the community, who is merely a band of people choosing to live under a system of law, but that law is now defeating the very individual that John Proctor has become. Proctor says with a cry of his whole soul, why can't he have it? Because it is my name, because I cannot have another in my life, because I lie and sign myself to lies, because I am not worth the dust on the feet of them that hang. How may I live without my name? I have given you my soul, leave me my name. My integrity, the John Proctor, the flawed human being that I am, I own that. Danforth points to the confession in Proctor's hand. Is that document a lie? If it is a lie, I will not accept it. I will not deal in lies. And so Proctor here says you know what? You cannot comprehend that. In actual fact, this lie and who I am, you're right, they have to be one and the same. And he tears the paper up. He will not give in to a flawed system and authority when he realizes that in actual fact, he can be a man of integrity. That final push by Danforth shows Proctor that he has tremendous value beyond himself, and that he can reconcile what people think of him on the outside, but more importantly, he can reconcile that with the person he is. They've seen the truth, they've heard his confession, but in his own heart, he has realized that he himself has merit. And tearing up the paper is a wonderful symbolic moment, that conflict between what is written down, what is considered authority, and what one believes of oneself. He says, it is a marvel that you can see that. That is the marvel that I can. That's the miracle of life. You have made your magic now, for now I do see some shred of goodness in John Proctor. This process, this pressure, this burning a hot fire has separated the good John Proctor from the bad that he felt about himself, the man who sought forgiveness from his wife. Not enough to weave a banner with, but white enough to keep it from the likes of you. He knows that he's flawed, that he is inherently human. Fear not, says Rebecca. You will fear nothing. Another judgment waits us all. Hold fast to your belief. Danforth, sticking to his principles and his authority, waves the law in front of them and says, I will punish you. Hang them high over the town. Who weeps for these, weeps for corruption. Rebecca says, I've had no breakfast. These fundamental rituals of life. Humanity has disappeared from this community. How could John Proctor maintain his faith with it? Come, man, I've had no breakfast. Come, man. Look at the softening of Herrick. Herrick is escorting them out, and Elizabeth's left in the doorway. Paris in deadly fear to Elizabeth, go to him, Goody Proctor, there is yet time. And this whole scene with Rebecca is really important. I've had no breakfast. The reality of life has gone. The physical need to exist is gone. I have my soul. And Elizabeth knows when she sees Rebecca, she sees that her husband and John Proctor have reconciled themselves with their flawed nature, their human nature, and their spiritual selves combined with their integrity. She can't stop him. You hear a drum roll, it becomes quite dramatic. Go to him. He rushes out the door as though to hold back his fate, and he calls out, Proctor, Proctor, you will ruin me. I am the minister here, and you have bypassed me, the one who will give you the rights to heaven. Hail, pleading with Elizabeth. Woman, plead with him. He starts to rush for the door and then goes back to her. Woman, it is pride, it is vanity. She avoids his eyes and moves to the window, and he drops to his knees. Be his helper. What profit him to bleed? Shall the dust praise him? This physical life, you're giving it away. Shall the worms declare his truth? There'll be nothing. There's nothing heroic here. And it's absolutely true. Miller does not want to set John Proctor up as the man, the tragic hero who returns to his goodness and is seen as heroic. He is inherently flawed. No one will hear of John Proctor's pain and what he cried out for. But John Proctor will know, and that is the truth. Go to him, take his shame away. But there is no shame, she reinforces. He have his goodness now. He has found it. He has found his own forgiveness. God forbid I take it from him. The greatest sin would be for her to prevent him from seeing that there is a greater good in him. There's a final drum roll, then heightens violently. Hale weeps in frantic prayer, and the new sun is pouring in upon her face, and the drum rattle like bones in the morning air, and the curtain falls, and John Proctor dies. But he dies a man inherently fulfilled, because he has returned to his own sense of self. So the process of the crucible is fulfilled in this intense, heated theocracy that is inherently flawed, that has applied pressure to the individual, to John Proctor. He has separated himself from the parts of himself that he knew he judged very harshly. He knew that they still existed and were part of him, but he could see the good in him beyond all his flaws.